Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Courtney Ryan, and ladies and gentlemen, we have another TikTok reaction. This time, a video about why women should ditch the bad boys and marry the nerd. I actually reacted to a video like this not too long ago, but I think this one goes much more in depth, and like always, I have much more to say, per usual, so let's get into it. And just to preface, this video got 5 million views. So let's watch. I'm gonna pause throughout because she has like a note in her phone of like a list of different things, and you guys seem to really like or prefer when I make comments throughout instead of waiting until the whole thing's done. So let's get into it.
The way y'all are acting about this viral video is only proof of what I have always said, and that is never count out the nerdy guy. Listen to me, you want to marry the hot nerd, and I will die on this hill. I know you've always been attracted to the bad boy, but let me ask you something. How is that working out for you? I married a hot nerd, and I'm here to give you a presentation on why they are elite.
So stopping right here, obviously wanted to highlight a more positive and lighthearted video instead of the constant negative stuff. I think it's important to cover both, but I hope this video is refreshing for you guys. You know, may your days be merry and bright. Happy holidays from me to you. First, I want to talk about this whole hot nerd husband. She said hot nerd husband. I want to say this before we continue because I know a lot of you, instantly when you heard hot nerd, you shut off. Now, while I agree that nerds are the best, my husband is a nerd, my dad is a nerd, the best men I know are nerds, I think the concept of hot nerd, the hot nerd, is interesting. And I know a lot of you will tune out the rest of what she says in this video because she called it hot nerd. And you'll probably think to yourself, oh, so it's only attractive to be a nerd to women if I'm also hot. Keep in mind that hot can be subjective as we're all attracted to different things. So I just wanted to make that clear from the very beginning. Someone left a comment on this video and said, keywords hot nerd, not just the nerd, which got 19,000 likes. Okay, so other people are thinking it too. You're not alone in thinking that way. And she replied, well, yeah, I mean, there has to be attraction here. You know, I do think you need to be attracted to your significant other, but again, people are attracted to different things. And as you'll see, she goes on to explain why the hot nerd is the hot nerd, and a lot of them really don't have anything to do with looks. Now, I will also say looks definitely help though, but the good news is there is a lot that's in your control and very easy ways to look better, and if you need help with that, I've done countless videos about this. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, now that we've given our little disclaimer, let's continue the video.
Number one, they're smart. And as you get older, you realize that smart is a lot sexier than swag.
Smart is sexy. Amen. Brains over Riz all day, every day. I like a problem solver. I like a man who talks about his passions. I like a man who shares his knowledge of random topics with me. I like a smart guy. It's hot, it's sexy, it's everything. We're all going to age and get less conventionally attractive over time, but smart is sexy forever. Intelligence is attractive because it shows competence and reliability. Could not agree with that statement more. Next.
Because they're smart, they're more successful, they're doctors, they're engineers, they're businessmen. While that bad boy that treated you like total shit is 38 years old and he's still working the door at the local nightclub. Just saying.
You guys aren't gonna like this one, and I know it, but from a woman's perspective, there is truth here, okay? I'm not going to lie to you. And we're talking about a productive nerd, right? Using your nerdiness to your advantage. There are obviously nerds out there who are not successful, who are not applying their nerdiness to the best of their ability, right? You know, if you're sitting in your room all day, every day, playing video games, well, I don't really know if that counts here, okay? So I think it's very specific what she's talking about. I think it's more of just a guy who's driven, a guy who is smart, a guy who is applying himself, versus the bad boy who might not have anything going for him in terms of financial stability, reliability, even like emotional stability or reliability is obviously a factor here too. There's obviously some generalizing going on here. It's clearly not so black and white. There's a nuance to all of this. You could be a very successful guy, a doctor, an engineer, a business something, and be a bad boy, right? Just because you're a bad boy doesn't mean that you're working security at the local club. So I think we need to make that very clear. I think a better way to describe this one is a guy who is reliable, who has drive and ambition, a guy who is financially responsible, who you can count on and rely on, okay? This goes back to the fact that many women look for safety and stability in long-term partners. If you are financially stable, if you are reliable and dependable and ambitious, this makes us feel safe, even if we are too. So I think that's a better way to describe this one. Moving on to the next one.
They're not cocky because they actually don't even know they're hot. They may have grown up kind of puny, kind of dweeby, but they've blossomed, they've filled out, they might have even grown a beard. My theory is that hot nerds get hot overnight and they don't even realize it happened, so they're just as sweet as they always were. My husband is really smart and really gorgeous, but he did not have his growth spurt until he was like 20 something, literally. He just still has this golden retriever energy about him. He has no idea that he looks like a freaking model.
I actually know many instances where it's kind of the opposite. They didn't have their growth spurt until later in life, so they're not used to all of that female attention, and when they start to get it, they just turn into a straight up F-boy and don't know what to do with all the female attention. So is this always true? No. In a perfect world, sure. I don't necessarily think we should be celebrating someone's insecurities or the fact that they, don't know that they're attractive. She says, they don't know that they're hot. I think it's important for a guy to have confidence, but I do agree that a cocky guy who thinks he is the hottest thing to grace planet Earth and who might treat other people like crap who he thinks are below him, that is an absolute no-go. That is repulsive, okay? So I totally agree with that. But this is not always true, as I mentioned. I think sometimes late bloomers can be the opposite of this as well, again, because they're not used to that attention. I also think dating looks really different for men and women. A lot of men don't reach their peak until a little bit later in life, once they've established themselves, once they, have shown themselves that they're capable, they've built their career, maybe they are more emotionally mature. It sometimes takes a little bit longer. So it doesn't always work out like this. But with all that being said, being humble is incredibly attractive, and so is being kind to other people. So if we have a guy here who is really attractive, but who's also really kind and humble, you are the full package, my friend. And you're winning out against any hot guy who is cocky any day. Next.
A nerd will make sweet love to you, and you may think that that sounds vanilla. As the song states, they're not going to use whips and chains, they may not call you names, but they are going to make love to your soul and worship you like the goddess you are. Maybe I'm stereotyping, but nerds seem like they're less shallow, right? They love you for who you are.
Okay, let me try my best to decipher this one. I think a guy who is attuned to your wants and needs instead of just trying to fulfill his own is maybe a key element here. I'm trying not to get too spicy because I try not to do that on this channel, but I think it's really sexy when a guy prioritizes your needs as well. Also, in terms of the vanilla comment, the video that she's reacting to has that song about the vanilla whatever, and so that's why she's mentioning it, but I think vanilla gets a bad rap. I think there's a lot of negative connotations that are associated when someone says vanilla. It's basic, it's bland, it's just would you choose it? Maybe not. But I love vanilla, okay? I think vanilla is consistent, it's stable, it's reliable. It's very hard to mess up vanilla, okay? And is that always, what you're craving? Maybe not. Maybe sometimes you want a little mint chocolate chip or strawberry or whatever the heck. But vanilla, it's reliable, right? I don't think vanilla deserves all the negativity that it gets. In terms of in the bedroom, I think communicating with your partner and figuring out what they like is crucial. And sometimes that can be a little vanilla. But also here she's talking about, making love to your soul and maybe it being more, intimate and whatever. I think really reaching a deeper level here in terms of intimacy, truly connecting with someone intimately that you have a deep emotional connection with and who genuinely cares about you and your needs is the best thing ever. And I don't understand why the heck you would want a meaningless hookup with a bad boy who doesn't care about you or fulfilling your needs. Ladies, be smart about this. Enough of going after the selfish bad boy who cares about one thing and one thing only. Do not underestimate the power of a deep emotional connection. And in terms of intimacy, I think this is really important. And I think a lot of women try to ignore this because of trying to be empowered and sexually liberated and whatever. And you know what? To each their own. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. I have my opinion, you have yours. But being intimate with someone who you have a deep emotional connection with and who cares about you and who loves you is the best thing ever. So anyway, continuing.
Going to be the best dad. Your kids are gonna have some traits of their father, and I would rather a really sweet, smart role model for my children rather than some asshole who's dripping in Riz. And that concludes my presentation on why you should marry a hot nerd. Swipe right on your Harry Potter today.
Yeah, I would say he'll probably be a better husband and father than the bad boy who doesn't care about you. Riz is not reliable or stable. Riz does not pay the bills. Riz does not comfort you in your moments of grief that you'll experience in your life. And I think it's really important to pick someone who has positive character traits, who is a good person, who is kind, who is a hard worker, who is ambitious, who is smart. I think, again, as I've mentioned so many times on this channel, we are choosing partners on exceptionally poor criteria. You know, how much Riz someone has, how tall they are, how hot they are. These things don't make someone a good partner. And I do think a good rule to go by is if you wouldn't want your kids to turn out like your significant other, you probably shouldn't be with them, you probably shouldn't marry them, and you definitely shouldn't have kids with them. As for me, a bunch of mini versions of my husband running around my house, sign me up. I chose wisely. So my tip here would be to focus on the things that actually matter, true compatibility in terms of, do our values align, do our morals align, do we have similar life goals, do we want the same things, what do our contributions to the world look like, is this person a good person, do they have good character, are they a man of integrity, are they going to be a good husband and father. If he's not a good boyfriend, he probably won't be a good husband. So yeah, my question is, how is going after the bad boy working out for people? And for all the men watching, how is going for a woman based strictly on the way that she looks working out for you? Who people are in here and in here matters. Choose wisely. We have to start choosing better partners if we want better relationships and better families and just a better world. I'm not going to go down a rabbit hole and a rant today because you guys hear enough of that from me, but we need to start choosing better. And for a lot of you, that could look like choosing the nerd. Do I think everyone's compatible with a nerd? No, I do not. You know, everyone is different, but I do think collectively we need to start dating smarter, dating with intention, dating looking for things that genuinely matter instead of a bunch of surface level crap that does not contribute to a healthy relationship. So that's all I've got. If you like this video or found it helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to be in the loop for when I release new content. If you haven't already, be sure to follow me over on Instagram at Courtney Christine Ryan. I love connecting with all of you guys over on there as well. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Again, wanted to share a more entertaining, lighthearted, fun video instead of something negative. I think it's really important to highlight positive role models and, you know, women who are telling other women to choose better, right? Because choosing poorly doesn't lead anywhere that is good. So that's all I've got. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.